Hello, I'm the Resolute Cartographer, and obviously, as it's right in front of you, this is Minecraft. Now, I've recently come back to playing Minecraft after a while, and I actually started getting into the custom game settings, and I'll just show you how you do that real quick. If you haven't seen it before, create new world, you go into more world options, and then you change the world type over to customized, and you can customize a whole lot of stuff here. Um, yeah, so mainly I've been working with different sea levels. That's really the thing that I've been most interested in here. There are a whole lot of options here, though. You can see you can spawn all these little different things, mine shafts, woodland mansions, all that stuff. Then you can even get into the size of dirt, gravel, granite, diorite, all the little non-stone spawns. You can increase their size. I've typically been actually increasing the iron ore spawn size because I've never been happy with how small those are. And then let's see. Then this here you get into working with Perlin noise, and you can then change the way the terrain spawns and stuff like that. But again, I've been mainly focusing on the sea level. Now, 63 is the typical standard sea level when you start playing any game, and it's you're creating it without doing these customized options. That's where it's going to start. I've also been increasing the dungeon count slightly, although I haven't really noticed anything specific related to that. And then along with that, I have been, again, increasing the amount of iron ore that spawns. So let me just show you kind of what I've been learning about how this stuff is affecting the overall world that you create. So let me back out of this. Okay. So you can see here I've named a whole bunch of these water world, and 3 specifically, and that's because I started off with water world, and that's where I set the water level to 120. Now when I did that, I drowned upon spawning. I couldn't get to the surface fast enough in order to survive, so that didn't work. So then Oceania here, I dropped the water level to 115, and again I drowned on the way to the surface. Sealand, I dropped it down to 110, and I got some interesting results, and let me show you those. Alright, so you can see that there's some land here sticking up out of the water. Not much, but the extreme hills biome does stick up at 110, and it has some sticking out of the water. And then this is a village that spawned, and you can see that the way it spawned here was, this is probably a plains biome or something like that, with the water level up to this point. And you can see that these columns of stone that the village is built on just extend all the way down to that distant bottom. And you've got the villages here, animals, crops, all that. And it's interesting to see it like this because I have seen it where villages have spawned in canyons and stuff like that, and they spawn interestingly there as well. I just wasn't expecting exactly this, but pretty neat. So let's look at another one. Okay, so after I tried setting the water level to 110, I decided to set it down to almost nothing, and that's this one here. And this right here is the bottom of the ocean. I'm currently at level like 39 right now, something like that. And you can see that this would typically be underwater here, and this is what would be the bottom of the ocean. Now you'll notice that unlike the bottom of the ocean, which is typically covered in gravel, there is clay, sand, and dirt in here, which are typically things that you find in shallow water. So that taught me a little bit about how it is that the materials spawn, because as I'll show you in a minute, the terrain stays pretty much the same regardless of the water level, but the actual materials that spawn will be different. Yeah, because if this was the bottom of the ocean, all these hills would still be here, but they'd all be covered in gravel. There wouldn't be any dirt or anything like that. Well, maybe a little bit, but again, it would be under a level of gravel. So, and again, this is with the water level spawning incredibly low, and this would typically be the bottom of the ocean. So let's take a look at the next one. So, Water World 2. I decided to do this one to where there's an option in the creating the customized world where you can set it up so that there are lava oceans. And I thought maybe when I was trying to do it, I thought that there would be both water oceans and lava oceans, but unfortunately that was not the case. It was only lava oceans. Upon spawning, it did kill me. Let me show you what the world looks like. And there you have it. Just one massive lava ocean. It's like being in the nether. And I did just spawn here. Occasionally I'll see pieces of grass catch fire. Yep, like that. And I'm sure that as time goes by, more and more of that'll happen. There might not even be any trees to find eventually. just because it'll burn everything down to the ground. But anyway, so yeah, this is when you have lava oceans set on, and this I think was again at water level 110. So let's check out the next one. Alright, so from this point on, all of them used the name Waterworld 3, and they used the seed Waterworld 3 with capital W, capital W, and then 3 after that with spaces in between for the seed. And then this one right here, actually the first one I did is this one right here, the one that's just Waterworld 3. I'll show you that one later. But this is what the world typically looks like at the normal water level of 63. Alright, so some of the world's still spawning around me here a little bit, but you can get a general sense of the thing. I'm here in this extreme hills biome, and this is, again, something that the terrain will always be the same. I mean, there will be minor little differences, but generally speaking, it all is the same terrain, but just with different materials. And so here we are. You can see there's a river running through here. You can see there's some sort of a lake or a sea over there. And there's, all kinds of trees and grass and everything like that. So this is just a typical world spawned with the seed of Waterworld 3. And you can see there are like alpacas all over the place and stuff. So let me show you what this looks like though when you drain the water out of it completely. So this is with the water level set down to 29. Originally that last one was 63. And again, you can still see the same terrain. You can see that river curving around there. You can see that out there, though, where there was a lake or a sea or something, now you just got this valley. But you can still see the alpacas have spawned here, just as they did before. No tree here this time, interestingly. And that's something I've noticed before, is that trees don't always spawn in exactly the same place with the same seed, which is understandable. I mean, you can't get that specific with a seed. I mean, you can, but why would you? I mean, there's no reason to get that specific. And then you got, yeah, I mean, just pretty much everything looks normal. It's just that the water level's very low. So let me show you the next one up past 63, obviously, because this is the only one I have that's below 63, so I'll show you the next one. All right, so this is water level 81, and so before you could see how there is a river running through here. Well, now this is really just like the inlet of an ocean or something. And there's pretty much no land over there. You can see that same valley that was a lake at 63 and just a valley at 31. 31? I'm mixing my numbers up here. That may have not been what I said before. Honestly, I don't remember. But anyway, you can see how the terrain's the same, but again, the water level's different. And so it's actually causing different materials to spawn, like you got clay and sand and stuff right over there in an area that was just used to be like a hilltop. So let's go to the next one, which is up to water level 95. Okay, and this is water level 95. You can see that there are still alpacas. You got this interesting formation of ice here. You can see there are all of these little islands here now instead of what was, just a bunch of hilltops. Now they're actual islands. And, you got definitely fewer trees, but that's mainly just because of the land. And again, the ocean has risen. But again, the same tree here, and we're still on this pinnacle. The terrain forms exactly the same, just the materials are different. So let's go to the next one up, which is water level 110. Okay, so this is water level 110. Again, you can still see the same rivers cutting through here, but this is all the land. That little tiny chunk right there and this little pinnacle with a single tree and a mushroom on it. And this is actually exactly how I found this area. I mean, there's this little floating rock over there with some iron ore in it that is ridiculously high above the rest of the landscape. But other than that, this is it. And let me show you exactly what I did with that when I was playing through this the first time. I nearly drowned coming up. You can see my health is only at half. But yeah, this is the way I actually started playing a world. And let me show you what I ended up with. Okay, so this is the world I first started playing. Again, water level 110. You can still see that same exact river cutting through there. I ended up coming through here and reclaiming land from the sea, which it's a lengthy process, but I wanted to see exactly what I could do with it and see exactly how that would affect the world. And interestingly enough, I learned some more things about exactly how things spawn in the world, and I built this land effectively out of ocean floor, and yet I've got sheep on it. And that's because they spawned here. And I didn't actually know that that's the way that worked. I guess typically I'm used to working with wide open spaces, so I don't notice if there's an additional sheep there or not. But yeah, the sheep spawned here, along with that pigs. A chicken spawned here. I found one of its eggs, started throwing those around, and I eventually got a couple more chickens out of it. I think it's a 1 in 8 chance every time you throw a chicken egg that you get a chicken out of it. But no such luck there. Interestingly enough, I've learned some things about how temperature works with altitude. And that's why there's just this massive ice sheet around me here. It's because this is an extreme hills biome, but I'll show you here how it snows when you get to higher elevations, which that's something I knew, but I wasn't really thinking how that would affect water. But you can see that because that's a lower elevation down there that the precipitation's falling on, it's got rain falling instead of snow. So yeah, I definitely learned some stuff with this. Specifically about how animals spawn. The way that terrain is the same with the seed, but the actual materials there change due to the water level, which tells you a little bit of how Minecraft creates the worlds. And so I eventually started here with just this little spit of land and that little tiny bit right there. And I dug down through this. I came back later and I refinished it. Stone bricks, windows, stairs, all that. This was originally, underwater, obviously. And you can even see over here the sort of thing where it's not even that far under the ocean compared to how far down the water goes. I've got my little living area over here. This was a mushroom farm that I started so that I could eat. And that's until I got this farm going here where I got a carrot from a zombie and I've managed to turn that into a crop that I can then eat. Along with that, I found a zombie dungeon, and there were some melon seeds and some beet seeds in there, so I've grown those as well. And then I dug this shaft way down in order to get materials like iron and stuff like that. Started filling these chests up with it, made myself some armor, and then I thought to myself, what happens if I ever lose my bed here? And I end up having to go back to the spawn, which is underwater and a really far distance away. And I figured I'm actually going to build myself a railway to the spawn point. And that's what I'm working on right now. So I'll just show you what that kind of looks like. So a lot of this is underground, but then because of how deep the oceans are, I dug down pretty far, and I'm actually still, on the ocean floor, even having dug down as far as I did. And I got the materials to build more of it, I just haven't gotten to it just yet. But this right here can show you a little bit of a way to build easily underwater. Ladders make air pockets. So if you're ever building anything underwater, absolutely bring ladders along with you. You can see here that I'm starting to lose some air here, so I just pop a ladder in, walk over, breathe, I'm good to go. Now I see these columns over here in the distance, and that tells me that there's a village over there, so I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what's over there. But anyway, I decided to make this video just to show people what I learned about how the things spawn, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So anyway, again, this has been the Resolute Cartographer. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. If you got any comments or questions, leave them for me and I'll try to get back to you. Alright, thanks.